Now to the latest on New Jersey Governor Christie and the fallout from the rapidly unfolding scandal for him and his administration. Christie apologizing repeatedly during an extended press conference on Thursday. ABC's Jim Avila is in Fort Lee, New Jersey, the site of the traffic jams that touched off this scandal. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Robin. For the normally bombastic Christie, it was a political walk of shame and perhaps more importantly, a template of blanket denial of any personal involvement that will now be examined by everyone from the press corps to the feds. It was Governor Christie's worst day in politics ever, and perhaps his most important, forced to lower his voice and meekly visit the small town of Fort Lee to personally apologize to the mayor and its citizens.
The mayor and I had a good, productive meeting.
I accepted his apology.
But that may have been the easy part, because Christie also had to fire two of his closest aides.
I am embarrassed and humiliated.
Gone are Deputy Chief of Staff Bridget Ann Kelly and his political guru, Bill Stepien. She was doomed by the release of this email. Time for some traffic problems in Fort Lee, sent after Fort Lee's mayor endorsed Christie's opponent. The result, 4 days of commuter chaos and public safety delays caused by political retribution that closed most of Fort Lee's access to the vital George Washington Bridge.
I had no knowledge or involvement in this issue, in its planning or its execution, and I am stunned by the abject stupidity. I am heartbroken.
To some, it sounded like he felt more pain and fired his aides because they weren't loyal to him rather than for their misconduct.
Are you the victim here? Regardless of what the conduct is they've lied about, they're gone. So I never had to get to the conduct, the underlying conduct. If you lie when I ask you a question, you're fired. That's it.
Christie admitted he can be combative, but insists his personal style does not foster political vengeance.
Politics ain't beanbag. I am who I am, but I am not a bully.
The hard look at Christie's perhaps personal role, if any, will begin today when his Democratic opponents are scheduled to release as many as 5,000 documents and emails about these lane closures. George?
Okay, a lot more to come, lots of potential legal and political fallout. So let's bring in Dan Abrams on the law, Matthew Dowd on the politics. And Matthew, let me begin with you watching that press conference yesterday. I thought he did about as well as he could do in that forum.
Yeah, under the circumstances, he did about as well as he could expect it. And why is this important is, for most people, Governor Christie was the preseason pick to be the likely Republican candidate for president, and that's why it was important. But on three scales, on tone, he was contrite, and he was humble, and that was good. On the actions, immediate actions, and the firings of that, it's actually Bridget Kelly. It kind of reminded me of the scene in Godfather 2 when Michael says to Fredo, "You broke my heart," and the next thing you know, he's gone. That's what it sort of seemed like. And three, the length of it. I thought the almost 2-hour length of it was actually a really good thing because it sucked the oxygen out of the room. For all of those factors, I think he did as well as could be.
Yeah, he seemed to exhaust the questions yesterday, but Dan Abrams, they are not over. You've got this U.S. attorney launching what they call a preliminary inquiry.
Yeah, well, that's basically him saying, I know this is a big deal. I know everyone wants an investigation here, and we're going to have one. But when you think about what the potential federal crimes could be, it gets a lot tougher. Now, before 2010, they might have had something, which is called an honest services statute, meaning there was something that demanded that public officials engage in honest services. The Supreme Court struck that down, saying unless there's money or kickbacks involved, then there's no federal crime.
But even without a federal crime, you've got class action lawsuits right now. You've got an inspector general's investigation.
Yeah, look, the last thing you want is investigations, right? Particularly investigations where there's the power to subpoena documents, et cetera, because that can elicit more embarrassing political information. I think that's their greater concern at this point, is that the legal investigations will lead to embarrassing political information.
Also, all those subpoenas kind of freeze up the government.
Absolutely, but I think the class action lawsuit is a real long shot when you're talking about state officials engaging in official state duties.
So, Matthew Dowd, what's the key to his political recovery?
Well, I think right now he's hostage to the truth. He's hostage to the statements yesterday. And I think if he continues to be open, transparent, and humble, if the facts support what he said yesterday, he's going to be okay. I actually believe that if he gets through this and everything he said yesterday turns out to be true, he could actually benefit from this because, as you and I know, most people And most politicians who succeed have to have gone through some serious adversity, overcome it, and they get to another level. If he's able to do that, and there's still days and weeks ahead where we're going to learn more, if he's able to do that, he actually could be better off because of this, because of that adversity than he was before.
So not politically failed by any means. Matthew Dowd, Dan Abrams, thanks very much.